Dangerous Henri is headed for New England. Good evening, I'm Mike Naso with this late Saturday night, early Sunday morning update. It's about 11:37 p.m. at the time of this recording, so by the time you see this, it might be after midnight. All the same, we have Hurricane Henri at 38.6 north, 71.0 west as of 11 p.m. from the National Hurricane Center. Winds of 75, 987 millibars. It's a Category 1 hurricane. However, it is a dangerous storm with a potential storm surge, very gusty winds, high seas, and heavy flooding rainfall. It's moving north at 21 miles per hour, and it might even have that northwest component to its track beginning. And it is forecast to make landfall on Sunday, probably sometime in the mid-morning hour range, either in Long Island on the extreme eastern edge of Long Island, or even up into Rhode Island and Connecticut, Massachusetts perhaps. We're not exactly sure. Those states are so cramped together that just a little deviation could bring a landfall in a different state. Nevertheless, it is forecast to be at or near hurricane strength. So it could be a high-end tropical storm, could be a Category 1 hurricane. Regardless, the impacts are the same. We do have a lot of watches and warnings to talk about. The hurricane warning is in effect for the south shore of Long Island from Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point, and the north shore of Long Island from Port Jefferson Harbor to Montauk Point, as well as New Haven, Connecticut to west of Westport, Massachusetts, and Block Island. And we also have a tropical storm warning from Port Jefferson Harbor to west of New Haven, south shore of Long Island from west of Fire Island Inlet to east Rockaway Inlet, Westport, Massachusetts to Chatham, Massachusetts, and that includes Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, as well as coastal New York and New Jersey west of East Rockaway Inlet, including New York City. So again, this whole area from Jersey all the way to Cape Cod under the threat of, at the very least, tropical storm force conditions, if not hurricane conditions. Now here's the latest radar out of New York City, and you can see the eye of the hurricane there at about, 72 west and about 38 north. So it is making that motion there pretty much straight north, maybe a little bit northwest, and it is expected to take a track somewhere like this. So again, Providence, areas like that, Newport, Block Island, you might be right in the line of fire from a landfall, and if not, you'll be on the right side of the storm, and that's where you'll have those onshore winds pushing water up. That is a very significant threat with this hurricane. You can see this is the water vapor imagery, and I'm looking here and I'm seeing a little bit more bursting, so it might still be intensifying just a little bit more, and so there is a chance it gets up to a more mid-range to high Category 1, and it might weaken before landfall, but again, it's all a moot point. 21 miles per hour, all this energy headed for the coastline. It is going to be a nasty Sunday there in New England. The water temperatures, the Gulf Stream, this tongue of water is pretty warm, and it's right now, what did I say, 72 and 38, it's right about here. So it's just about to reach the cooler waters, so that's why it might start to weaken, but again, it's so close to landfall that at this point you're still going to be dealing with at least a high-end tropical storm, if not a hurricane. So that impact in New England is different than in Florida. A 70-mile-an-hour storm in Miami, they're used to that. A 70-mile-an-hour storm in New England, that could really cause a lot of problems, power outages, and trees down, things like that, which is why this is such a serious threat. Water rises. Long Island Sound, Block Island, Narragansett Bay, Buzzards Bay, Nantucket Sound, all these areas 3 to 5 feet with crashing waves on top, 2 to 4 feet here along the southern areas of Long Island, 1 to 3 along the Jersey coastline from Cape May to East Rockaway Inlet, and we do have those storm surge warnings for the south shore of Long Island all the way to Montauk Point, the north shore of Long Island, and then from Flushing, New York to Chatham, Massachusetts, including Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and Block Island. All of you guys under a storm surge warning with that water rise. Looking at this is a cool little website here. These are the NOAA tide gauges. So we're looking here, nothing yet in Montauk. You could see the water pretty normal, okay, right now in Montauk, Narragansett Bay. Same thing, But again, this will all be increasing as Henri approaches. You can see there Narragansett Bay expected to have a water rise into a flood stage. So again, hopefully it doesn't go higher than 5.6 feet, but that is a potential possibility. Providence, the high tide, look at this, 8 in the morning, 8:36 a.m. for high tide. That is very close to the time of expected landfall, so that is not good news. We could see landfall of Henri with the onshore water pushing in right around high tide. Rainfall, another threat with this system. This is a very wet system. It's going to be very wet. As it slows down interacting with that trough and the ridge, you can see rainfall 6 to 10 inches here over Long Island, and that will spread up through Albany, even into Burlington. You guys could get in on the action in Vermont and New Hampshire as the system stops and then does this kind of right-hand turn, even along the coastline of Maine, 1 to 3 inches potentially as time goes on. That could cause a lot of flooding concerns. The highest flood risk from Jersey all the way into Connecticut, Massachusetts, and areas there of New York. By Monday morning, it should be spreading over the next 3 days over areas of Vermont and New Hampshire and decreasing with time as the system moves out. But again, it's going to take a while. Here's the key messages with Hurricane Henri as of 11 p.m. Number 1, dangerous storm surge expected late tonight or Sunday in Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, southeastern Massachusetts. We have that storm surge warning. Residents need to follow local advice given by local officials. Number 2, hurricane conditions expected to begin late tonight or Sunday in portions of Long Island, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. We have that hurricane warning in effect. Tropical storm conditions late tonight, probably already beginning just offshore. Number 3, heavy rainfall could cause considerable flash urban and small stream flooding, along with the potential for widespread minor to isolated moderate river flooding across Long Island, New England, eastern New York, and New Jersey. And finally, the swells will continue to affect much of the East Coast from Henri over the next couple of days. That could cause life-threatening surf and rip currents anywhere here along the East Coast. I would advise staying out of the water for the next couple of days. This was Bob. Bob hit 30 years ago this week over areas of Newport, Connecticut as a Category 2. It was a Category 3 offshore, and it caused a lot of damage, billions of dollars in damage. They retired the name Bob. It was on this year's name list. They replaced it with Bill back in 91, and so we never will see another Hurricane Bob. But Henri is somewhat similar, not as strong as Bob was, which is obviously good news. Nevertheless, if I put this into motion, you can still see this is a tightly coiled storm, not as big as Bob, certainly not as large as Sandy, but look at right in there. It is coiled up, and it's starting to get that look like it's going to do that northwest bend. So if you are in Long Island and Connecticut, you guys can still have a direct landfall. Right now, Rhode Island, you're the smallest state in the Union, but I'm telling you right now, you might get a landfall from a hurricane or at least something close to it. Nevertheless, a lot of this moisture pumping right on in there towards areas of New England. So again, if you're in that area, if you're in Long Island and watching this update, Connecticut, Rhode Island, stay in tomorrow. Listen to local officials. If you lose power and you have a generator, don't use it in your house. Carbon monoxide will kill you. A lot of people die that way in hurricanes. Just stay in, hunker down. If you're in a low-lying area, watch for the threat of flooding and storm surge. And again, power lines, stay away from them. Don't touch them. You never know when they're live. It's going to be a nasty ride as Henri approaches New England. So I'm Mike Naso with the latest on Hurricane Henri. I'll be back with more updates as this dangerous storm approaches landfall in New England. Hurricane Henri of the 2021 hurricane season headed for areas of Long Island, Connecticut, and Rhode Island tonight.